one thing about that wing T offense, though. It is very easy to draw people off sides with your guys in motion and the cadence that the quarterback uses in that offense. So 1st and 15, and the give is to Sorrells. He'll go right up the middle and be met just past the line of scrimmage. He'll fight his way ahead for a couple of yards, and that's it.
Tried to cut it up over right tackle. Just wasn't much there. Princeton defense doing a good job. Princeton's running a 4-4, so they've got the 4-4 defense is designed to stop the run. You try to run the ball up the middle, you've got 8 guys in that box. That really makes it difficult. Now, we saw a good play. They ran on the outside. They got the law of the ball, had a real nice gain. They sprung it to the outside. Caught those 8 guys in the box, couple of nice blocks, sprung it.
Doing a good job stopping around in the middle there, but where Beckley's gotten all their yardage tonight has been around the ends. And Law's going to try it again. Darius Law still on his feet. He's met at the 47-yard line, stood up and dropped. So he goes from 47 to 47.
You watch this play develop. He cuts inside of Chris Carr. Carr doing a nice job, getting a nice block. And the wide receivers come in. And pick up the linebackers and the defensive end. They have a couple of guards pull to come out and pick up the corners. And the outside linebacker, he's drifted off too far, opened up a nice hole. So now they've got 3rd and 5.
And this could be the last play of the quarter, 5 seconds to go. And I think Slay's just going to let the clock run. He will. So that's the end of the first period, and our score, Princeton Tigers nothing, Woodrow Wilson Flying Eagles nothing. Stay with us. We'll be back for the second quarter right after this on the Charter Channel. Second quarter here at Hunnicutt Stadium in Princeton, West Virginia. No score. 3rd and 5 now for the Flying Eagles. The ball at the 46-yard line, almost the 47-yard line. And Slay will go under center. 2 men in the backfield. That's Law and Rhodes. Short pass, almost intercepted by Craig Day. Almost picked off. Craig wanted me to tell everybody that he looked ferocious tonight in warm-ups.
Boy, that was a nice read by Day. They were just running a quick. The slot receiver just went straight up. He didn't run a slant or anything, and that gave Day the opportunity to cut in front, and boy, he almost fluffed that one in. If he would have had a lot of open green grass in front of him.
You betcha. Slay 1 for 4 tonight for only 1 yard. His only completion to Bennett in that last series. So back to kick is Woodrow Wilson. Princeton will field it at about the 13, and he fumbles it. And there's a fight for it underneath. There's one Princeton Tiger, and the rest of Flying Eagles and Beckley got it. And I really think that the Princeton receiver heard footsteps.
Anthony Hayes back there to take the punt. Yeah, I think he might have looked down to see who was coming. And when he saw Law coming up the field, we watched Law play earlier. He played a huge defensive game against Grand Virginia. He was all over the field. He's a big kid, too. 6'1", 220. He's a senior. When you look at him, see him come full steam and nobody to block him, it's got to do wonders for your concentration.
So Woodrow Wilson in business at the 20-yard line. They're in the red zone, and 1st and 10. The give is over the right side to Sorrells. He'll fall across the 20 to about the 19-yard line. He'll get a yard, and that's it.
Good pursuit by the Princeton defense. Coming over, reading that play, and really didn't give Sorrells anywhere to go. Couldn't take it outside. They did a good job turning him back in. Pursuit from the linebackers and defensive backs to shut that down.
2nd down and 8. They're going to give him 2 yards. 2nd and 8 now. The ball at the 18-yard line.
Yeah, usually we see Woodrow Wilson, when they run their wingbacks, when they come on a reverse, they usually bring it to the open side of the field. So this is going to be the Law side, and he's done a good job every time he's gotten the ball coming around that end.
And a little movement on the right side this time from the Woodrow Wilson offensive line, and so that'll back him up 5 yards.
There's a little bit of a mix-up. I saw Slade kick his leg like he wanted somebody to come in motion. Nobody came in motion, and then we had movement. Moved back 5 yards.
2nd and 13.
Yeah.
So the ball all the way back to the almost 24-yard line. So Officials wind the clock at 10:59, and now it's on its way. Slay with 3 wide receivers, 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Back to pass is Slay. He'll let it go from the end zone. He's got a man, and in and out of the hands. He couldn't make the catch. He had it.
Boy, that was
intended for J.C. Rhodes was the intended receiver. And a good defensive play by Anthony Hayes to break that up.
He went out and up. The wide receiver took the guy inside. There was good coverage. The ball was just thrown a little bit to his outside. He couldn't quite bring it in.
So 3rd and 13, or is it 2nd and 13?
Third.
3rd down and 13 for Woodrow Wilson. And I'll tell you, obviously 4-down territory here, but this would be a huge defensive stand for Princeton if they can keep Beckley out of the end zone or off the scoreboard with a field goal here. This is huge for Princeton right here. They need to stop him. 3rd and 14. Give us to Sorrells over the right side. He's got a blocker. Sorrells is going to be brought down at the 25-yard line by Brad Harold. Harold came all the way over from his outside linebacker position and wrapped him up.
Princeton does a great job just stringing this play out straight. He's looking for a hole, trying to, and then Harold just shoots the gap, wraps him up, brings him down.
No gain on the play for Sorrells. It's 4th and 14. What's Beckley going to do? They've got 2 timeouts. It's probably a little long for a field goal, I would think.
Well, they're running a little trickeration here. They've got their offensive line lined up on the far side of the field. They've got Slay lined up by himself with 2 receivers to his right.
This is what wide camera shots are all about. Slay's going to roll left. Big old block in the middle of the field by Craig Day. Pass into the end zone and caught for the touchdown. And that was in and out of the hands of the first receiver. And behind him, I couldn't see the number. It's so hard to read Beckley's numbers.
I believe that was Law. The ball was tipped and it went right into Law's hand. And the Princeton defense, you watch this. Now watch this block. Here he comes. And Dave was the one who was supposed to get the hit.
He was ferocious.
He said, no, I don't think so. Slay lays it up, and the Princeton defense let 2 guys get behind. Cardinal said for your safety, you never let anybody get behind you. And that's where the touchdown occurred. Tip ball, nobody back there to knock it down. And Woodrow Wilson with a big touchdown, and the extra point is good.
Brandon Swartz tacks on the extra one and makes it 7-0. So 24 yards on the completion to Law, and Beckley's on the board first. They lead at 7-0. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this on the Charter Channel. So after a little razzle-dazzle, Beckley leads at 7-0 on the 24-yard touchdown pass. Slay to Darius Law.
When that really got hurt after Princeton came up with a big 3rd down stop. And to let him not only convert for a first down, but score a touchdown.
Squib kick now taken. It's going to be taken by. It better be taken by somebody here in a hurry. Darryl Fallings, still on his feet. Fallings at the 30, and he loses his balance and goes down at the 41-yard line. But a great job by Fallings of drawing. I don't know if he did that on purpose or not. Let him draw the kicking team in and then took off.
I don't think so. That's dangerous. But you see that happen a lot of times. The pursuit, the defense just foaming at the mouth. They see the ball roll around, nobody in front of them to block, and they just over pursue. He finds a little gap, boom, he threw the first 7 guys and did a good job. And it went for that last cut there. He had a lot of running room. He could have picked up another 15 or 20 yards.
Now, if you see Darryl next week, he's going to say, yeah, I did that on purpose. Yeah. I drew him in, so I could blow by him. That's what he's going to say. Mike Bridges split wide to the right for the Tigers, and the give is right up the gut with the ball carrier. The ball carrier is Will Alvin.
Just good surge by the middle of the offensive line by Princeton. Picks up 5 yards. Now, we were talking in one of the breaks when Woodrow Wilson played Graham earlier. All their big plays came to the outside. Princeton's got a back that's fast enough. They get the ball to the outside, they can make some big plays. Surely they had to see that in the game fields when they watched Woodrow Wilson, if they saw that game. But that's where all of Graham's big plays came from, was taking that ball to the outside.
Alvin got 4 on that play. Give us to Hayes over the left side. Hayes close to the first down. He'll be about a yard short. Give him 3 on the carry for Anthony Hayes.
Of course, one thing that's different tonight, the grass is wet, and it's going to require a good cut when you get to the outside, cutting that ball upfield, and that may be a little bit of a problem too.
David Phillips brings the play in to Kevin Kokas. 3rd and 2 for the Tigers. They need a first down right here. Kokas under center, gives it to Albin. Albin fights his way ahead across midfield, and he's got the first down for the Tigers down to the 47-yard line.
You watch this. Right there, it comes up, the big hit. Chris Carr hit him, but he keeps going. Albin doing a good job. 6'2", 230 pounds. Senior, a lot bigger than their original fullback that they started the game with.
Well,
Albin Sibley's 5'11", 185 pounds, so you're gaining almost 50 pounds on your running back there.
Albin hasn't been the healthiest of players here in the last couple of weeks, and that's why he doesn't get the start tonight. But now Kokas back to pass for the first time. He's in trouble. He'll let it fly. He's got a wide open receiver. Catching the ball is Adam Hughes. He's down to about the almost 25-yard line, just outside the 25, first down.
And Kokas doing a good job here, avoiding the rush, doing just enough to buy enough time. Princeton did a great job. They flooded the zone. They had the corner out there, had 2 guys to cover. He did the right thing. He took the long receiver, but that left the short man wide open. And Kokas doing the right thing, picking out the guy, right receiver, wide open, picking up a big first down for Princeton.
Michael Davis wide to the right now for Ted Spadaro's Tigers. And the give is right up the middle to Sibley. Sibley across the 25 down to the 23-yard line to pick up a 3 on the play. So the biggest play for Princeton tonight, a 22-yard completion, Kokas to Hughes. And Princeton in business deep in Beckley territory, nearing that ever-popular red zone.
You know, that was a really nice play that was set up by Princeton. What they did, they just took their wide receiver, took him straight down the field. The corner went with him, and then Hughes came out from his tight end spot and just ran a little bit of an out route, found a soft spot in the zone, and just sat there and waited for the ball.
Phillips wide to the right now for the Tigers, and the give is to Hayes over the left side. Hayes is going to be wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage to about the 27-yard line. They'll lose 3 on that. It's going to bring up 3rd down.
Brandon Schwartz doing a good job getting in there. Nice pursuit, beats his block, wraps him up, brings him down. They're actually going to lose about half a yard on the play. 3rd down, and a little bit longer than 10 to go.
Clock continues to run at 6:46. Beckley leads at 7-0 here. Charter Channel and Charter Media High School Game of the Week. Right here, Kokas back to pass, and he's going to get dropped. Another big loss back to the 32, a loss of 6 on the play. And as he stepped up in the pocket, he just got nailed by J.C. Rhodes.
Will Albin was open. You watch, he just didn't have any time. He had one guy out there to block 2, and that doesn't work very often. One guy doesn't block 2, and Woodrow Wilson comes up with a big sack. If he had enough time, he had Albin wide open in the flat. He would have had a lot of running room.
Right.
That's what happens when you send a lot of guys out in the pass pattern. That's going to leave somebody unblocked if they send them on a blitz, which they did that time.
4th and 15, loss of 6 on the play. Kokas back to pass. He's under pressure. Dumps it off to Hayes, and Hayes is going to try and make something out of nothing here as he gets down across the 25 and the 24, but that's really back to the almost the original line of scrimmage, so nothing there.
Yeah, on a 4th down play, that's nothing more than a run. They were trying to set up a wide receiver screen. And I would have liked to seen him at least go down, 10, 15 yards, put yourself in a position. If you do an interception, no big deal. The ball's going to get turned over anyway. And usually when you throw it downfield long enough, it's very hard for him to bring it back on a return. And, that play right there, it's just like a running play. He's going to have to do it all himself once he catches the ball. And Woodrow Wilson did a good job. He made a few nice moves there to make up some yards, but they didn't give up the first down.
So Beckley takes over 1st and 10, ball's at the 24-yard line. And they send Law in motion. Darius Law cuts it up over the middle. He'll get out to the 30-yard line and pick up a 6 on the play for Law. It'll be 2nd and 4 for the Flying Eagles.
You watch this. Law coming around from his left wing position. Just getting the ball on the pitch, finding a hole, taking it up the middle, picks up about 6 yards. We saw him do that all night long against Grand Virginia.
Good job by Tyler McGraw, that right tackle. He pulled and led him through that line there, and they gave him some running room, and he picked up 6 yards on the play. Ball's at the 30-yard line now. 3 wide receivers, 2 to the left, 1 to the right for the Flying Eagles. Wingman in motion, both of them now. Law and Sorrells. That is a penalty. Can't do that, as Slay is brought down for a loss, but it's going to be a penalty here.
2 men in motion at once.
While it might look pretty on television.
or in Canadian football. Not in high school football. And it'll be interesting to see if the play was blown dead, they'll take the penalty. Now, I don't know. I don't think they blew the play dead. They ended up losing about 3 yards on the play from where the officials marking the ball. I think they'll just decline it. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. Decline it, take the 3 yards and the down. So it's going to be 3rd down and about 7.
So we'll give him a loss of, we'll give Slay a loss of 3 on the play. 3rd and 7. Clock continues to run at 4:50 to go in the first half. Woodrow Wilson leads it 7-0. Hard fought between these two football teams last year. Beckley won it at Beckley 14-7. And motion on the left side of that line for the Flying Eagles.
They're going in the wrong direction. And you know they're not going to go on a 4th down here, so this is their chance right here on 3rd down where they've got to pick up the 1st down. They're not going to, 4th down, they're not going to go on this deep in their end of the field.
Barely saw it there up in the right-hand corner of your screen. That's Armand Belcher.
That's all it takes.
It's just a little move, and they back him up 5 yards. So now 3rd and 12 for the Flying Eagles. Ball's on the 22-yard line. I mean, they're certainly an explosive football team. They can have those big plays. Law's already had runs tonight of 16 and 30 yards, and then, of course, the 24-yard pass from Slay to Law as well. Man in motion, and Slay, another flag. Slay with the option pitch out into the flat, and Sorrells is going to be brought down for a loss behind the 20-yard line.
Andrew Lloyd doing a good job. You see him run the option play, and Princeton had that one smelled out. They had guys out there to cover. Lloyd doing a good job. He slipped, was able to stay with it and grab Sorrells by the legs and bring him down. Another motion penalty against Beckley. I'm sure that'll be declined, and they will force them to punt the ball.
So John Lilly can't be happy with the wheels falling off in this series here after the good defensive stand that Beckley made on Princeton. Beckley goes nowhere fast here, and all those penalties and out, so they'll have to kick it away. Back deep now to receive for Princeton is Michael Davis and also Anthony Hayes. Hayes, of course, set up the Beckley touchdown a little while ago with that fumble on the punt previous to this series. Decent kick, a little bit of a shank, and a fair catch called by Michael Davis at the 49-yard line. Davis hangs on.
Real good decision by Davis. Make the fair catch. He's going to get the ball about midfield. Didn't want to try to do anything spectacular with it. 3 minutes and 44 seconds to go in the half. Princeton got plenty of time. They got the ball in great field position. They just need to figure out how to move the ball and keep that Woodrow Wilson defensive line and linebackers out of the backfield.
Really, the only offense tonight for the Tigers was that 22-yard pass to Hughes.
And even then, when Kokins dropped back to pass it, he had to avoid a couple of guys before he got it off.
Yeah, they gotta give him some time to throw the football if indeed Ted Spadaro is going to throw the football tonight. Right up the middle is where the play goes, and I think that was Sibley. Picks up 2 on the play. 2nd and 8.
So we saw Will Albin in there for a while, their bigger back. He's out of the game right now, and they've got Sibley in. Not quite as effective running up the middle against the big guys.
Actually going to give him 3 on the play. Michael Davis wide out to the right now. You see him there at the top of your screen. There's a mixed direction play. And still on his feet with the football is Brad Harrell. That's a first down for the Tigers. As he moves the ball from the 48.
You watch this play. It's a slow developing play, but a nice job. Gave Princeton plenty of time to set their blocks up, and they built a nice little tunnel there for Hayes to run through.
That was actually Harrell.
Harrell to run through. 3 minutes to go in the half.
12 yards on the pickup for Brad Harrell. And another misdirection. There's Anthony Hayes. Hayes across the 30, down to the 26-yard line. That's close to a first down. He may have it.
Well, that's 2 good running plays misdirection, gets the defensive flow. Your offensive line gives them the impression that they're going one way, sets up nice blocks, nice big holes in that defensive line set up by the Princeton offensive line, and back's doing a good job picking up. They're going to measure for the first down.
Yeah, the spot is close enough for a first down there.
I can't tell from here. Looks like it might be the nose of the football.
And he is just short. So they'll give him 9 on the carry for Hayes.
That's the longest 9 yards he'll ever get.
So it'll be 2nd and inches. Ball at the 27-yard line. 2:50 to go.
If Princeton plans to keep the ball on the ground, they're going to have to hustle and get those guys up the line and get them moving. The clock should be running.
Yeah, it should, and it's not now it is. And there's Harold over the left side, still on his feet. Down to the 20. Harold, pick up of 7, has the first down for Princeton.
You watch on the replay, another misdirection. Gives to Harold another nice hole. Law doing a good job. He started one way, corrected himself, came back the other way. That's the reason why he was able to pick up as many yards as he did.
And we've got a timeout on the field, and John Lilly's not happy with his defense. He wants to talk about it. We'll take a timeout as well. 2:45 to go in the first half. Beckley leads it 7-0, but Princeton's knocking on the door. Stay with us. We'll be back. That's their second timeout. They've talked about it. 1st and 10. Ball's on the 20-yard line. First time in the red zone tonight for Princeton. Alvin on his feet. He's got another first down inside the 10-yard line. Will Alvin.
And that goes to show you, just a simple handoff up the middle. That shows you what 50 pounds will do, and a nice job blocking there by Brad Roberts, 6'1", 260-pound junior, doing a nice job just riding this guy up the field. And 50 pounds will buy you a lot of yards. Alvin's doing a good job taking that right up the field, and Princeton is moving the ball.
1st and goal on the 8. Give us to Alvin over the left side, down to the 5. Alvin with a pickup of 3 on the play, and he's got 24 yards on 4 carries.
It was Chris Carr that had him by the ankles and eventually brought him down, but that's another pickup of about 5 yards for Alvin. And after we saw some misdirections 2 or 3 different times, they've just the last 2 times have made some good gains, just handing the ball straight off up the middle.
Give him 4 on the carry. The ball is just inside the 5. Clock continues to run. Princeton trying to push it in here before halftime. Alvin, the ball carrier. Alvin still on his feet. Ahead to the 3-yard line. A pickup of about 1.5, maybe.
Make a 3rd down. You can see Woodrow Wilson was ready for that one this time.
Princeton takes a timeout.
They just clogged the middle up. You can see Chris Carr's got a hold up. Schwartz comes in and brings him down.
So we've got a timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. 1:43 to go. Beckley leading 7-0. Stay with us. We'll be right back right here on the Charter Channel. Good shot of Old Glory there as the weather's kind of holding off right now. Not a lot of rain, but the wind is picking up a little bit. Blowing from right to left on your TV screen.
Well, you know, they've got 2 plays. This is 3rd down. They're on about the 3rd-yard line. They've got 2 plays to get it 3 yards.
Right. And I'm thinking, what do you think? Alvin up the middle. And a misdirection play to Harold. Harold in the end zone. Touchdown, Princeton. And again, Ron, that misdirection play coming around from that right side. Very similar to the wing T offense, actually.
Yeah, they did a good job. You watch right there. Alvin leads. Everybody goes after him. He throws a nice block, and that gets him right in the end zone. And Princeton getting a much-needed score right before half. Now what they're going to have to do is play good defense. They need to get this extra point up. And, you know, really...
Oh, and he pushed it to the right. Straight on kicker is Leandrew Lloyd, and he pushed it to the right. Normally, the kicker for Ted Spadaro is Corey Stout. He's listed on the depth chart as the kicker, but for some reason did not make that kick. And Leandrew Lloyd pushed it to the right. So a little bit of the wind goes out of the Princeton sails. They're on the board, though, 7-6. We'll be back right after this. To go here in the first half. Princeton has just scored on a 3-yard run for Brad Harold. The extra point failed, so Beckley retains its lead 7-6. And, it takes a little bit of the wind out of the sails if you're a Princeton team.
Yeah, what really set that up was the previous defensive series Princeton had against Woodrow Wilson. All the penalties moved the ball back.
Kick yard line. And nowhere to go and nowhere to hide for Joel Hill.
That was Mike Bridges coming down, making a real nice play on special teams. Reached out and grabbed him by the ankle and eventually fought him down. And I would be surprised to see Woodrow Wilson try to do anything here but try to just run the clock out and go into the locker room with a lead at half. Of course, last week we saw Parkersburg High was down 13 to 7, and tried to throw a pass out in the flat and ended up intercepted. And Parkersburg South took it right in, tracked the score up 19 to 7 at the half.
So Woodrow Wilson will take over first and 10 at the 13, and they're just going to run the ball right up the gut with it. And a good run near first down territory is Darius Law.
That's going to stop the clock. He's right near a first down. I believe he picked up the first down.
I believe he did as well.
So Law's been effective tonight. Every time he's got the ball, it's been positive yards. And basically the same play, coming around over on the left end of the offensive line. He's always had good running room there.
Pickup of 10 on the play. The ball's at the 24-yard line. First and 10, 1:15 to go. And the pitch is to Sorrells. He bobbles it. Hurdles a couple of guys. Gets out over the 30. Still on his feet to the 33-yard line. And a good job and a flag on the play. As we'll have it unsportsmanlike, I think.
You watch right here, you'll be able to see Sorrells doing it. I don't know how he held on to that ball, but he eventually balled it in. Not a big guy, too. Takes a big shot there and keeps fighting. We saw him against Grand Virginia, just take some huge shots, and he was limping off the field. And the next play, he'd be back on the field.
Face mask is the call against Princeton. Now, I thought it would have been a late hit on Rhodes coming in.
Well, actually, I think that's a good call. The Princeton faithful were hollering for the late hit, but Sorrells hadn't been brought down yet.
So he picks up 11.
Clock is running, 50 seconds going to happen. Woodrow Wilson's got the ball in pretty good shape where they might think about working it down the field in the air now.
45 seconds. Clock continues to run. Law in motion. Slay back to pass. You are right, Ron. He's looking to throw. Now he'll just tuck it and run out of bounds at the 41. So a couple of yards on the carry for Slay. And it'll bring up second down.
And a good decision by Slay. His receiver was well covered out in the pattern. They just had one receiver they sent deep for wide out, and there were three guys downfield with him. Did a good job just getting out of bounds, stopping the clock. Really not concerned with gaining or losing any yards. He picked up about a yard on the play, though.
Well, if you're Princeton going into halftime down 7-6, you really got to like where you're at in this football game, because that last drive was very impressive. They started at their own 49-yard line, and they marched all the way down in just under, I think it was around 10 plays, and they got it in the end zone, and Will Albin really led that drive. So you know you can move the football on Beckley. Now it's just a matter of doing it in the second half. Slay stutter steps, falls down at the 44-yard line, pick up a 4 on the play, and the clock continues to run.
Woodrow Wilson has one timeout, and I believe they just called.
Yeah, they did take it. We'll stay right here. And I want to remind you that coming up, it's this month, finally, we're in the month of October, the Race Fest World Championship at the West Virginia Motor Speedway. It's October 19th and 20th. You can get your tickets. I've got my tickets. I have got my tickets. Right there's the information. You can get them at 1-866-WVMS-TIK, or if you prefer to order them online, they do accept Visa and MasterCard at www.wvspeedway.com. The Charter Communications Race Fest World Championship coming to the West Virginia Motor Speedway October 19th and 20th. Come on out and see us when the world comes back to West Virginia. We'll have it for you on the Charter Channel. It's going to be a great event, and we're certainly looking forward to our partnership with the Medine family and the PM Company and all the folks at West Virginia Motor Speedway. It's been a great summer out there, and we certainly look forward to this dirt track race coming up at the middle of the month. Back to football. 23 seconds to go, and 3rd and 5. Out of the shotgun is Slay. He's got 4 wide receivers, and they're going to try and air it out the best they can to get down maybe in field goal range. They fake the handoff to Law. Slay back to pass. Now he'll roll to the left. He's being pursued. Lets it fly. He's got a man wide open, but he's out of bounds. Pass intended for
Sorrells, I believe.
Yeah.
It was out. They had a receiver long, and Sorrells did a good job. The wideout took 2 guys with him. That was Aaron Bennett. He went long home, took the safety in the corner with him, and Sorrells was out there around the 30-yard line, and he was open, but Slade just couldn't get him the ball on the run, rolling out to his left-hand side, just could not get it out there.
Knocked 9 seconds off the clock. It's now down to 14, and Beckley will set up to punt. Hayes, and also back to receive the punt is Davis. And a good kick. Davis has it at the 22. Around the right side. Davis still on his feet and down at the 32-yard line. So that's where, with 5 seconds left, Princeton will probably take a knee and go in the locker room. I don't see him throwing anything here.
I would like to see Princeton just send the whole team. Try to block that one. I mean, they tried to set up return and it didn't work. That's one way to go about it, trying to set up a big return. But, you got the ball, they're kicking from about their 35, 40-yard line. Send the whole team back there, see if you can't block it, send it back the other way, and set yourself up good field position for at least a couple, maybe one or maybe 2 shots at the end zone.
Right. So this will be the last play of the first half. Koch is under center. One wide out. Nobody's covering him over here, if you saw that. Nobody was covering him at the bottom of the screen as Sibley carried the ball ahead for 13 yards, but that's going to do it for the first half. We'll be back and talk about some numbers for you in just a few minutes. Our score at halftime, Beckley, Woodrow Wilson 7, Princeton 6. Stay with us. We'll be back right after these messages on the Charter Channel. In Princeton, West Virginia, getting ready to start the second half, and both teams kind of got out of the locker rooms late, so a lot of jawing going on, I guess, at halftime from Ted Spadaro and John Lilly.
Yeah, well, you like to be a fly on the wall, hear what they say or hear how they motivate them, but, really, both teams played a really good first half. They just had a few mistakes. Woodrow Wilson that one time with the penalties,
right.
The muff punt, but, really not too bad defensive and offense for both teams.
Well, if I'm Ted Spadaro, I'm telling my kids, quit jumping off sides, don't muff any more punts, and we're going to win this football game. There's a little squibber. It's going to be fielded, well, I'm not quite sure who's going to field it. Holy moly. And getting the ball is Darryl Fallings, but he falls all the way back to the 10-yard line, and that's the second time now that Fallings has had trouble with.
Well, the first time it happened, they ended up with a pretty good return. This time, he had to go down to his knees to eventually watch. Gets by 2 guys.
Gets by Sibley, and it gets by Darryl, and then Darryl finally goes back and gets it, takes a knee, and then gets creamed after he's already on a knee.
So not the most ideal starting position for Princeton.
First and 10. The ball at the 10-yard line as we start the third quarter. Mike Bridges split wide out to the left, and Harold in motion. The give is right up the middle. I think Sibley has it. Sibley out to about the 12-yard line, or for a pickup of only a couple. Adam Sibley, 5'11", 185 pounds. He's a senior, and he's one of those guys that we mentioned earlier that was the starter last year that came back.
We saw that play work a few times, especially on the last drive at the end of this first half. But it was Alvin when it was carrying the ball.
Yeah. They did give him 2 on the play. It's 2nd and 8. Ball's at the 12-yard line. Just underway here. Harold in motion. And the give is to Harold over the right side. Brad Harold across the 15 to maybe the 16-yard line. So he'll get about 3.5, maybe 4. And that's going to be it for Harold. Look at it again, the fake to Hayes there, and Harold goes right over the right side.
This time Woodrow Wilson staying at home. And Princeton, they want to pick up a first down here. They want to be punting from this far
no, sir.
Back in their own territory.
3rd and 5 for the Tigers. Give us to Hayes. Hayes over the left side. He's got the first down. And Hayes across the 20 to the 23-yard line. So a pickup of 8 for Hayes, and that's a big one, Ron.
You watch it on the replay here. Hayes does a good job. You see the blocking by the line. And Sorrells, he got there a little bit late, but he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He's supposed to turn them back to the inside, not let them get out around him. That's exactly what he did. But unfortunately for Woodrow Wilson, there was no one there to stop until after he picked up the first down. A big first down by Princeton.
So a little bit of breathing room for the Tigers now. The ball's out to the 23-yard line. 1st and 10. Harold goes in motion, and they give it right up the middle to Sibley. Sibley out to the 30-yard line. He'll pick up 7 on the play. Jones led the way there, 6'4", 260, and he's only a junior, so Ted will have him back next year. Officials timeout as they've got a equipment problem in the Princeton huddle. And while I have a second, I want to commend the folks that provided us dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Heavenly Concessions, man. I know you didn't get to be here for it, and I'm sorry, but man, half a chicken, barbecue, green beans, and baked potato. It was awesome.
But the pizza was good at halftime.
Yeah, it was. It was good. Here's a big run from Hayes, flying on the play though. This one's coming back. It'll be a hold. Hayes goes all the way out to the 44, but hold everything as it's going to be coming back. Right there at the line of scrimmage. The flag was almost immediate, Ron.
Boy, that was a great job by Princeton, but you know the hold was probably there because somebody was holding. But
Yeah.
Princeton did a good job on the defensive line, getting out, getting the linebackers. Hayes had a nice lane to run through, but holding may have been helping that out just a little.
But anyway, I wanted to give Heavenly Concessions a pat on the back because they fed not only the entire football team, but they fed our production staff and our account executives from Beckley and Princeton that were down here tonight to support both teams. So, I want to
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Oh man, it was great. Just Al, you can turn that music off in the truck anytime because it's like driving me crazy. All right, back to live. Thank you. It's back to live action. Over on the right side is Hayes, and he is stacked up immediately. Not a whole lot of running room there as
Sorrells and Law. You watch this. It looks like he's got a little bit of running room, and then all of a sudden he breaks out around the outside, and there are Sorrells and Law, and they drop the hammer on him. He did pick up about 4 yards on the play, so it's going to be 3rd down and 8.
So they're just under 9 minutes to go here. The ball's at the 25-yard line. They've got to get to the 34 or the 33 for the first down. Kokas back to pass. In trouble. Lost it over the middle. Alvin is the intended receiver, and Sorrell's there to stick him right away. Alvin never had a chance.
Kokas barely had a chance. You watch this. He turns around, faces the Hayes. He turns around. He's got a couple of guys just bearing down on him. And barely gets it off, and a nice job by Sorrells timing that perfectly, coming in there from Alvin. And even if Alvin does catch it, it's not going to be enough for a first down. It's only about a 3 or 4 yard pass.
And I'll tell you, the Princeton line, if Kevin Kokas is going to throw this football, has got to do a better job tonight, giving him some protection, because he's had 3 attempts, and every one of them have been hurried so far this evening. So punt formation almost blocked by J.C. Rhodes. And a decent kick from Princeton. The ball goes out of bounds at the 47 or 46-yard line. So Beckley will take over 1st and 10 from their own 47.
And Woodrow Wilson doing a good job, helped out by the holding penalty by Princeton. Or Princeton would still be moving the ball, but did a good job, gave him the first down, but held him, and starts out with really good field position. Ball's on the 46-yard line. And Princeton's lucky to get that ball off because it was close to being blocked.
J.C. Rhodes pretty near blocked it. And mistakes are shooting Princeton in the foot right now. Pitches to Sorrells on the left side. He slips down at the 48. Maybe gets a couple of yards, and that's it.
Well, I think if Sorrells would have bought that ball to the outside, it looked like they had a pretty good wall set up where his blockers led to the outside. He saw something a little different, cut it up inside, picked up about 2 yards on the play. But it looked like they really had the outside seal. If he would have took the ball to the outside, may have had a bigger gain than that.
8:10 on a running clock. Check that. That was Darius Law who carried. And he goes in motion again. Law right up the middle again and tackled hard. Or is that Sorrells? My bad. That is Sorrells.
Sorrells, yeah.
Public address announcer messed me up.
And that play that time was designed to go up the middle. You can see the guy his lineman sitting the wall up in the middle. Had a nice old run through and picks up. Well, I don't know if they're going to measure it. And
they needed 7, and
we're just right about on top of that. It looks like he might just be a little bit short.
Well, you've been right both times tonight. You're going to try and make it 3?
I'm going to be wrong then.
First down.
He got it.
Needed 7, got 7 for
2
Sorrells.
out of 3 ain't bad.
Hey, somebody ought to write a song. Get some long-haired fat guy to sing it. Make $1 million. All right, 1st and 10, Flying Eagles. Ball's in Princeton territory at the 44. 7-6 our score as Woodrow Wilson leads it here in the third quarter. 7 and some change to go in the third. Sorrells the man in motion. The pitch is to him. He cuts it right up the middle. Sorrells still on his feet. Over on the left side. He's got a man to beat and he's gone. Sorrells at the 15, at the 20, and he's run out of bounds. He lost his balance, and they're going to say he's out of bounds at around the 9-yard line.
Hayes just barely getting enough of a hand on him to push him out of bounds. You see Sorrells, again, cuts it back up the middle, and a great job of blocking by the offensive line. The linebackers have come in, flagged the gap, but they were in the wrong gap, and Sorrells doing a good job busting the outside. You see right there, Hayes just gets enough on him to knock him off balance and put him out of bounds.
34 yards on the carry for Mr. Sorrells, and the Flying Eagles are in business, first and goal inside the 10. Slay under center, sends Law in motion. Darius Law with the carry over the left side, and he's wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage by Brad Harold. He'll lose maybe a yard.
I believe that's the first time we've seen him run this to the short side of the field, and Law not nearly as successful as when he's got the wide side of the field to run to, and they bring him down for no gain there. Good job by the Princeton defense.
Princeton comes in tonight 4-0. They're ranked 6th in the state of West Virginia. Beckley 3-1. Their only loss to state runner-up Martinsburg from last year. And the give is to Sorrells on the trap. Sorrells gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and that's it. He might get a yard, and that's all. So it'll be third down and goal.
That was a good job by Lee Thornton, holding his ground, staying in the middle, and wrapping him up. It looked like the play had potential for a big gain, but Thornton stayed right where he was. Got the tackle.
Third and 10. The ball is just inside the 10-yard line, so third and goal. They cannot get a first down. Law in motion. He gets the pitch. He wants to throw. He can't let go. He can't get rid of it, and it's picked off in the end zone by Darryl Fallings. Fallings with the pickoff, and that all started in the backfield. You see it on the replay where Law lost the handle right here.
Yeah, and the play was set up nice, and if Law could have let go of it then, I think that would have been a touchdown, but just that little bit of a bobble gave them enough time to recover, and that was a good job intercepting the ball. You didn't want to knock that down because the interception in the end zone comes out to the 20.
Right, not only that, it was third down, so you certainly don't want to knock it down because you give them another shot at it. If you can pick it off, especially if you're in the end zone. So a nice turn of events for Princeton as Kokas will bring them up to the line, and under David Hercey will try and, or Hercey rather, will try and get things going here for Princeton in this third quarter. Albin up the middle. Fights his way ahead for about 3 yards. It'll be second down and 7 for Will Albin. His right leg, you can see there's a some kind of a brace or some sort of brace on his right knee. He's was not expected to really play this football game tonight, but when you talk about rivalries, you talk about South and PHS, you talk about Beckley Princeton, Rhodes is back, and he was hurt, and Albin's in this ball game, and he was hurt. So both guys playing hurt tonight.
Yeah, when it comes to big rivalries like this, you can somehow overlook the pain enough to play.
Misdirection to Sibley, and he's gone. Sibley at the 50, Sibley at the 40, and he's going to get caught at around the 20-yard line. But Adam Sibley on that misdirection trap play goes all the way down. No flags anywhere. We'll have to see where they mark it.
Well, you watch just a nice job by you see the big block there, 2 of them, and that springs me. Avoids one tackler, and not for the speed of Hill, catches up to him finally at the 13-yard line and brings him down.
63 yards on the carry for Sibley, and Princeton's in business. 4:51 on a running clock. First and 10, the ball on the 13-yard line. Give this to Hayes over the left side. Hayes with a hole. Hayes down to the 5-yard line. Pickup of 8 on the play for Anthony Hayes.
Man, that play has really been effective for Princeton tonight. You see right there, misdirection, getting a nice big hole to run through and take it down to the 5-yard. It takes a real hard hit in the back. But Princeton is on the move. 4:20 and the clock is moving in the third quarter.
Brandon Swartz on the stop for the Flying Eagles. And you're right, Hayes got drilled in the back there. stood him right up. Or sat him right up. 2nd and 2, the ball on the 5-yard line. Kokus under center. They send the man in motion, and they give it to Albin. Will Albin on his feet, in the end zone, touchdown, Princeton.
Boy, he had guys hanging all over him, and he said, hop on, guys, I'm going in the end zone. You can ride along if you want to. He shot him about the 2-yard line and took it in, and Albin really looking impressive. Now, you see right there, he's wrapped up by 3 guys. There's another one that hits him right at the goal line, and he just keeps going.
The Albin Express went into the end zone, and I think he's listed at 6'2", 230, and I think 40 of that is shoulder pads. This guy's built like a brick house, and he gets right into the end zone. Touchdown, Princeton. They take the lead, 12-7.
So they're going to go for 2 here. What a big turn of events. You know, Beckley getting the ball. They're right there knocking on the door, the interception, and Princeton brings it right down and scores a big touchdown.
Give to Albin once again. Albin fights, drives, and he's in for the conversion. So now that big 7-point lead, that was huge right there.
And what a nice job by the left side of the Princeton offensive line. Just getting some big push. Albin just sticking his nose in right behind him and in the end zone for the 2-point conversion.
Our score with 3:54 to go in the third. Princeton leads it 14-7. We've got a barn burner. Stay with us right here on the Charter Channel. We're coming right back. Here's the touchdown, Ron.
Boy, it's just a great job by the offensive line, and more than that, Albin in his 2nd, 3rd, 4th effort, taking it into the end zone. Guys hanging all over him, and he just wasn't going down.
Brad Roberts on the left side, Toby Seaver on the left side, and I'll tell you, Princeton does a super job and takes the lead after intercepting in the end zone.
Oh, what a mistake.
Yeah.
That's not a penalty. The official drops his flag, but Hill making a big mistake. If he lets that ball go, it goes out of bounds.
Right.
And they start off in good field position. He comes over and fumbles it around, knocks it out of bounds, and now Woodrow Wilson in a huge hole starting on their own 12-yard line.
Well, I tell you got to be impressed with that Princeton drive. They intercepted the ball in the end zone. Folligs intercepted it. They come out to the 20. They run 2 plays, and then they do the misdirection trap, and Sibley goes 63 yards to set up the final drive into the end zone.
And we've seen that play effectively run tonight for Princeton. We saw it late in the second half, and I think they finally figured out, hey, we can run this play. And, you know, they just bring the back from one side to the opposite side through a nice hole, fake it to the fullback, and it has worked.
Give us to Law on the left side, and he stood up and met by Will Albin. He gets a couple out to the 15, and that's it for Darius Law.
Albin was in on the tackle. See him doing a good job playing linebacker. He shoots the gap, comes in there. And also, the first guy to him was Leandro Lloyd.
Oh, okay, Lloyd.
Came in behind him, and then that's one of those hold him up and I'll hit him shots. And Albin did his job. Leandro Lloyd doing a nice job coming from behind him, slowing him up.
14-7 our score, 3 minutes and change to go in the third. Princeton has just taken the lead. Sorrells now with the pitch. He goes up the middle, and he is met by Brandon Ball, who drops him like a bad habit. He gets maybe a yard.
And when we saw that in their first offensive series in the third quarter, Sorrells had run that play several times, eventually had that big run off of it. But this time, he cut it back into the middle and nowhere to go. That was Brandon Ball, I believe, for Princeton.
Yeah. Brandon Ball made the first hit, dropped him, 6'3", 250.
You know, when the wing team, when they have both tight ends, they have no wideouts, everybody's stacked in the middle. That's such a good opportunity to throw the ball. You've got them think and run, you're looking run. Send one of those tight ends out on a slant.
Well, we'll see it, 3rd and 7. Slay is going to give it right up the middle to Sorrells, misdirection, and Princeton was there to defend it. Maybe a yard or two on the play out to the 19, but that's it. It's going to be 4th down.
And that was Will Alvin. He stayed right at home, did not follow you watch this. You see the coming around, they're setting up, and they just didn't get out in time. He's supposed to scrub off his block on the line. He helps out on the double team, scrub out and come out and get Alvin, and just didn't get out there in time. Sorrells might have been a little too quick and beat him out there. And Alvin making a nice
Is this
back.
one of those deals, Ron, where you send the whole bunch and try and block it?
Uh-oh, yeah, you do now because it's a safety.
Look at there. Over his head it goes, and the wheels are coming off the Flying Eagle machine right now.
Boy, just a bad snap.
Yoinks, in a way.
You know, really, in a way, it's a good thing that it went over his head when they're this close to the, if it's going to go over his head, that they're this close to the end zone because it goes out.
Yeah.
You know, if they're another 10, 15 yards up the field, that ball's laying live in the end zone. Princeton's got chance to get a touchdown out of it. But they get the 2 points, and now they're going to get the ball back.
Right. And how big is this? Now they're up by 9. They've got to have 2 scores to catch them. And all the momentum right now is on the Princeton Tigers side of the ball.
Yeah, and we've seen Woodrow Wilson before. You know, when they get in that lead, they like to go into that run mode, chew up the clock like they did against Graham, Virginia. And when they're not going to be able to do it now, they're going to have to come out. There's only 1 minute 55 seconds left in the third quarter. They got the entire fourth quarter, but they've got to get 2 scores.
Somebody else I want to thank here today while I have a second is Dolores Gandy. Dolores is the general sales manager of our Beckley team and Princeton team down here, and she has hosted us today and really has taken a great care of us and has done a great job. And her entire staff has really done a super job making us feel right at home as we are on the road. And I'll tell you, to get to our hearts is to feed us, and she did a great job today. And Mitch Owen, our director extraordinaire, I mean, Dolores, he's your adopted son now. I mean, you can just take it to the bank. He loves you.
Now, you know Woodrow Wilson's probably going to squib the ball. What Princeton needs to do is come up and attack that ball. Don't sit there and let the ball play. It's sort of like in baseball.
Right.
Don't just lay back and let the ball play. You get up and get that ball on a good hop because they're going to be kicking the ball from the 20-yard line.
Right. All right, so here we go. And it is a squib. And again, it's muffed. They haven't been able to get a handle on it. Sibley with the ball. Now he'll cut up through the middle. 45, 46-yard line. And
hey, Sibley may have fumbled around, but he did exactly what he should have. He went at it, knocked the ball down, picked it up, didn't let it dribble back another 20 yards, and they're starting out in great field position.
yes, they are. 147 to go in the third. And 16-7, an all-important 9-point lead, because even with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, Woodrow Wilson is still behind. But now Princeton has the football. They've got great field position, as you just said, and all the momentum is on their side. So we'll see what happens with this drive here. Beckley needs to step it up and shut him down early, 3 and out. Harold in motion, and they give it to him. Over the left side, and a good defensive play from Beckley right there as Harold will lose a yard. And stop made for the Flying Eagles by Justin Carroll.
But this time Woodrow Wilson's ready for it. 3 guys standing there waiting for Harold. And he loses a yard on the play.
So Beckley needs to step it up on the defensive side, as we just said, and a big play by Justin Carroll right there to start doing just that. It will be second down and 11. The ball at the 45-yard line right in front of us here at our broadcast location here at Hunnicutt Stadium. Harold goes in motion again, and they give it to Sibley over the right side. Sibley at the 40. Sibley's got one man to beat. He's got it still on his feet. Sibley down to the 25, down to the 15-yard line, and Sibley, man, I'll tell you, there's been another one of those misdirection plays.
Yeah, and Sibley doing a great job this time. You watch, they send the flow of the offense one way, just a quick handoff up the middle of Sibley, and a nice hole to run through. You saw Sorrells right there, had a chance. He slipped on the wet grass, and then a nice play by Sibley right there, pushing Hill off. And if it wasn't for Swartz hustling downfield on that play, that's going to be a touchdown. But Princeton on the move again. The clock is rolling. 50 seconds to go in the third quarter.
31 yards on the carry for Sibley. That has the ball first and 10 from the 14. Deep inside Woodrow Wilson territory. Princeton's on the move. Kokas gives it to Hayes over the left side. He slips down, and they're going to call him down, I believe, before he was even hit.
Yeah, that was a good job by Rhodes getting in there and tripping him up.
Yeah, they're going to make him.
Good. Yeah, he went down on his knee. You watch right here, Rhodes coming in, slicing in, slipped his block, and right there his knee touchdown. Good job by the officials. Right on top of it, marked it right where it should have been.
So that's a loss of 3 now for Hayes.
You know, it was sort of funny because when the game started out, we watched Princeton go up the middle, and weren't getting much there. They eventually made some adjustments, started putting misdirections, working that into some reverses, and I've really found a weakness there in Woodrow Wilson's defense.
And that's the end of the third quarter with our score. Princeton 16, Woodrow Wilson 7. Stay with us. We'll be back to call the final 12 for you right after this on the Charter Channel. As we start the fourth quarter, Princeton on the move, second and 14. The ball rested about the 18-yard line after that loss of 3 yards on the knee.
You know how long a break in between quarters is?
It's supposed to be 60 seconds.
It's just long enough to eat a piece of pizza.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed. Yes, indeed do. Hey, before we get out of here, remind me to have have you explain to the folks how you set the new land speed record today coming from Parkersburg. Misdirection to Sibley. He goes right up the middle. Gets down to about the 16-yard line. You want to tell everybody how quickly you made it to Princeton today from Parkersburg?
You're going to get me in trouble.
Well, what are they going to do? Stop you after the fact?
No, but I got to go home.
Oh.
And you want to see Sibley doing a good job, and he saw an opening to his right, just couldn't get there. Slipped a little bit, ran into his tight end.
Ran into Adam Hughes.
And boy, if he could have made that one extra step there to his right, he would have had a big hole to run for it.
So bring up a third down. The ball's at the 16-yard line. Pick up of a couple. Yeah. We're in the fourth quarter. 11 minutes and some change to go. They give us to Alvin over the right side. And he gets it down to about the 13-yard line, which is near the original line of scrimmage.
Darius Law doing a good job coming in from his linebacker's spot. And it looked like Alvin had a lot of running room there. Law doing a good job slicing in there and just wrapping him up.
Now, I like what Ted Spadaro's doing right here. He's bringing in his sophomore kicker. Rather than go for it on 4th and 9, he wants to try and put some more points on the board. So he's going to bring in his sophomore kicker. That's Corey Stout. And Stout is going to attempt a 30-yard field goal. They'll spot the ball at the 20 when he kicks it. And he's going to hook it way left, so it's no good. But there again, I like what Ted's thinking. He likes his chances at a field goal more than trying to get 9 yards in one play.
Well, either way, if they didn't make the first down and miss the field goal, either way they've got Woodrow Wilson pinned back deep in their own territory.
Right.
And they're going to have to go the length. What have we got? About 88 yards. About 80 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, the ball's at the 20-yard line, so it'll be 80 yards. But very impressive stand there by Beckley because it was first and 10 from the 13, and they ended up shutting them down. No points on the board. Give us to Sorrells. He goes up the middle. Sorrells out to the 23-yard line. He'll get 3 on the play. It'll be second down and 7.
We've seen Sorrells this whole half. He has yet to take that ball to the outside. Every time he gets the pitch, you can see his blockers leaving him outside, but he elects to take the ball. Now, I don't know if the play's designed that way because they have a couple of guards pulled. You see Chris Carr out there getting a nice block, but the play wasn't going out that way.
Pick up of 2 on the play. It'll be second down and 8. Law in motion. He gets the pitch. Darius Law up the middle, breaks the tackle, still on his feet, has the first down. Law out to about the 32-yard line, so a pickup of 8, and it's a first down for Darius Law and the Flying Eagles.
And Law doing a good job, just the pitch coming around on the left side from his right wing spot, and saw a nice hole, cut it up the middle. But every time he's had the ball where he's had the wide side of the field to run to, he's picked up good yardage. It seems like they have a problem when they try to send him up the middle or the short side of the field. But he picks up the first down that time. Clock's moving. 9:45 to go in the ball game.
Law in the first half, Ron carried the ball 8 times. Only his 3rd carry, that last one there in this second half.
Yeah, they've mainly gone to Sorrells this half.
Sorrells in motion. They pitch the ball to him. He cuts up the middle again. Sorrells still on his feet, and he is leveled at the 39-yard line. And there to meet him is Anthony Hayes.
Hayes doing a good job. You just see the play again. Sorrells gets the ball and cuts right up the middle, right up behind his quarterback. And this time he's got a nice hole run through, hurdles the linebackers, and Hayes coming up and really laying a lick on him, bringing him down after about a 9-yard gain.
Give him 8 according to the scoreboard, so it'll be second and 2. The ball is the 40-yard line. I agree with you. I think he got 9. Law in motion. They give him the ball. And he's met in the backfield. Princeton read it all the way, Ron. They came from that right side of the defensive line and just smothered it.
Yeah, and that was a great job by the right defensive end, just coming upfield and making Law turn back in. And when he had to turn back in, the rest of the Princeton defense was there, and he's going to lose about 4. It's going to be 3rd and about 5, 4.5, 5.
The ferocious one, Craig Day, on the stop. Remember, he told me, before the game, make sure you say I'm ferocious on TV. So, Craig, there you go. 6'1", 215, you are ferocious.
I'll tell you what, after that one block Hughes threw on him and Hughes went down and Hayes stayed up, he was pretty ferocious on that play.
3rd and 5, ball on a 37. This is a big 3rd down for Beckley as they try and draw him off sides, and Princeton ain't buying it. Beckley's doing the long count. Now they send somebody in motion and a flag on the play.
Hey, the fly on the wall is going to tell you that Princeton head coach did some chewing at halftime.
I think Spadaro says you don't move till the ball moves.
They were setting concrete that time. They were not going to move. That's going to move them back. And that's funny. It's on a third down play. Why you would go ahead and take the penalty? Seems like you want to go ahead and snap the ball instead of taking the penalty, even though you're trying to draw them offside.
That's going to move the ball back to the 32-yard line now. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 9. Wide receivers, there's 4 of them. 2 in the slot, 2 on the ends. Slay out of the shotgun. Looking to throw. He looks downfield. He's got a man wide open in the flat. And that's, I think it's Joel Hill that has it. I'm not sure. Yeah, it is. Joel Hill.
You watch this. Just a good play. You watch Slay. He gets rid of it just in time. But what they do is they take the wide receiver, takes the quarterback up the field. The slot receiver curls around behind the linebacker, just works out about 15 yards into the flat. He's behind the linebacker. The cornerback's gone up the field with a long guy, and he's wide open. And a nice job by Slay hanging in there, taking the hit, putting the ball right on his numbers.
19 yards on the pass completion from Slay to Hill in a draw play now. And it stood up in the backfield by Princeton rather. And there's going to be a loss on the play.
I think it was Brandon Ball, number 78. You watch him. He gets the ball, and Brandon Ball, yeah, that's him. He was right on top of him. And then finally, Kokas comes in and brings him down. Credit that play to Brandon Ball. Good job coming up.
So Law loses 2 more.
We've got number 75, David Hercey, coming off the field. It looks like he might have a cramp.
Yeah.
And he's coming over the sideline. Yep, that's what he's grasping his calf. Or his thigh, one of the two. Something in his left leg.
Really muggy down here in Princeton tonight. I imagine it'd be pretty easy to get cramps. 4 wide receivers for Slay. Passes in the slot and complete. Pass intended for, I believe it looked like Corey Solomon, but I'm not sure who that was.
It was 84. Yeah, it was Solomon that caught the ball. I'll tell you, we watched Slay against Grand Virginia when they were behind in the first half. He completed 7 of 10 passes. He's got a good arm on him,
yeah.
And that time showing it. They flooded the left-hand side of the field and then just ran a slant with your single wide out on the right side of the field. And he put that ball right on the money, right between 2 defenders.
13 yards on the pickup. Slay out of the shotgun. Law in the backfield with him. Slay throws out in the flat. He's got a man. That's Bennett. And Harold and Fallings there to bring him down at the 30. So pick up a 5 on the play.
And, really a pretty effective play. It was just a wide receiver screen. They had Sorrells came out to block. They had 2 guys to block, and really they're forcing them to pick up as much yardage as they did off of that.
Clock continues to run inside 6:50 now, down to 6:45 and rolling.
They're in the passing mode now, but they're going to have to hurry it up a little bit because they're going to have a touchdown here and then a score on top of that.
Right, and hope that Princeton doesn't eat the clock. Slay out of the shotgun. 4 wide receivers. Looking to throw. He's got a good arm and he's got a man downfield. Fallings, almost picked it off if Hayes hadn't been there.
Yeah, well, Hayes isn't looking who's behind him. He's doing his job. He's a center fielder, and this time he's watching the quarterback, and Slay just lays it up. He puts it up too high, and Hayes does a good job. He's coming over in front. He doesn't know who's behind him. He's just going after the ball. Now, you can look at the film. He'll look at the game film and say, I should have let that go. That's the last thing he wanted to do was let that ball go.
And it's the last thing. Yeah, that's the last thing you're thinking of, too. You want to catch it, but so Hayes almost had it, and Fallings knocked it out of his hands. I'll tell you another thing I'm impressed with Beckley's offensive line. Slay has had time to throw all night. He hasn't been pressured all night long. Beckley's offensive line is doing a great job. Except for now. The blitz comes from Alvin and Hughes, and Slay gets around the corner. He can outrun those guys easy, and he'll fall down inside the 25 to the 23-yard line, and that'll be a first down, I think.
Well, you watch Slay. He does a good job at avoiding the Princeton rush, but B.J. Nicholson, right here, you watch, he's going to collide with one of his own players.
Ouch.
Boy, they hit each other hard, and Slay comes out of it, pretty clean. He just went down and didn't really take a shot from it. It was Craig Day he ran into, and they hit each other harder. They were wanting to put that on Slay, but
pick up a 7.
Too slippery for him.
7 on the play for Slay. It's a first down, first attempt from the 23. Slay out of the shotgun. He wants to go to his left, fakes the option. Now he's hung up in trouble, and Harold's got him at the 25.
See, that was a mistake. Law
all night, and it came on a blitz from Albin to run him out of the pocket. Second down, Slay back to pass. Lots of time. Over the middle and caught and touchdown Beckley.
Hayes made a mistake on that one. He was playing center field, playing free safety. And he went for the ball instead of the receiver. What he should have done was stuck his shoulder pad right in his rib. You just saw right there. He went for the ball and went by him and gave up a touchdown. That was Hill that caught the ball. And boy, guy comes across the middle like that. You stick your helmet in his ribs a couple times. He's not going to be looking at the ball anymore.
Right.
Big touchdown. Nice throw by Slay.
And the extra point is up and good. So, man, have we got a close one. 16-14 now. And
hey, you got two options. Onside kick, which is risky because there's still 5 minutes left in the game. If it doesn't work, you give the ball to Princeton in good field position. Or you can kick it deep and try to hold them, not let them run the clock out, and then get the ball back.
We'll see. Coming up next week right here on the Charter Channel, we're going back home to Parkersburg. Ron and I have the night off. Next Friday night, it'll be Steve Darty and John Chalpin calling the game on the Charter Channel. But the Riverside Warriors travel up 77 to take on the Big Reds of Parkersburg at PHS. You can catch that game next weekend on the Charter Channel, but it's going to be a super game, a rematch of last year's semifinal game before the state championship.
Yeah, Riverside's got some payback on their mind. Yeah. They're wanting to get up to Parkersburg High and give them a big dish of payback. Parkersburg High's playing Capital tonight, going down. When I went through Charleston today, I mean, it was raining cats and dogs. It was just pouring down. So that turf at Lately Field, it's not the greatest turf anyway, so I'm sure it's like a skating rink down there tonight. But Parkersburg High, after they started out the season 3-0, lost their last two, so they're really needing to win tonight against Capital.
16-14 our score, and Woodrow Wilson will line up to kick it off. Hayes and Fallings back deep, and Princeton hasn't fielded a kickoff cleanly all night. Squibber down to Fallings on the right side, and he does get this one at the 17. Fallings slips, still on his feet. Fallings at the 30, slips again, still on his feet down the 33-yard line, and that's a big return for Fallings because he moves it up about 20 yards, gives him some breathing room.
Yeah, he did a good job fielding the ball. The ball came right to him, and really he's fortunate because when he started coming up the field, when you start slipping, you're starting to wave your arms around trying to regain your balance, and you're bringing that ball out of the way from your body. And if it would have been a Woodrow Wilson player close enough, the ball could have easily been slapped away.
All right, so we're down to 5 minutes and 1 second to go in this football game. Both teams have all their timeouts, so Beckley certainly has opportunities to stop the clock, but
well, Woodrow Wilson knows that they're going to run the ball, and they've seen the play that they've run effectively. Now Albin's not in the game.
No, they've got Harold in the slot and Sibley and Hayes in the backfield, and they give it to Hayes. Princeton needs to hang on to the football. Hayes goes forward to about the 35, so they'll give him 2 on the play.
And right here, Princeton's wishing they had a play clock on the field so they can run that clock down. Yeah, they're just guessing what the back judge has got on his watch. Now they've got Albin's coming into the game now, but
Albin and Michael Davis, and Harold comes out. And Harold goes back. And quickly coming off is Sibley. So Davis wide to the left. There's a good look at Kokas under center. Send Harold in motion. They give us to Albin over the right side. Albin still on his feet across the 40 to the 41, and Sorrells stopped him there. And Sorrells is hurt.
Coming up limping. But Sorrells is smart. Sorrells weighs 175 pounds. And he said, I want no part of him above the waist. He went down, grabbed an ankle, and hung on for dear life and brought him down. And the rain is starting to come down again.
Yeah. Pickup of 6 on the play for Albin. It's 3rd and 2.
It's not a real heavy rain. You look up into the lights, it looks like it's heavier than it is, but enough rain to make everything wet.
And make the umbrellas come out. Big 3rd down here for Princeton. They need a first. Hayes met in the backfield. He fights ahead. He's going to be close. I don't think he got it.
There's a flag on the field, and I think if he didn't run into one of his blockers, one of the defensive linemen from Woodrow Wilson questioned one of the Princeton guys back. If he doesn't run into him, I think he picks up the first down easily.
And a hold penalty against David Hercey.
to see which one of the Princeton players pushed back into him, but that may have been the one that was holding, trying to keep his guy off the haze.
Well, it was close to the first down. I don't think he would have had it, but it may have been close enough to go ahead and go for it on fourth down rather than to kick it.
I think Woodrow Wilson needs to take this penalty,
move
him back 10 yards, because I don't think Princeton's going to pass the ball. They haven't had time to pass the ball all night. I think they're going to keep it on the ground. They want to keep the clock moving. The clock's down to 3 minutes and 29 seconds. Plus, if they don't convert on the first down, they're going to have to punt it from further away.
Right. Kokis has only thrown the ball 3 times tonight. He's completed 2 passes. One was for no gain. The other for 22 yards to Hughes, who got loose in the secondary in the first half. And that's it. Kokis has not had time to throw the ball tonight. So you got to think here with 3rd and 15 that they're going to. What do you do if you're Don Nealon? I mean, you run a draw play. So.
Alvin right up the middle.
And it's going to be Sibley on misdirection over the left side, and he gets to about the 30-yard line, a pickup of 2, and that's it.
It's a reverse play, and they had some success with that a couple times. They've ran it before, but not this time. Had nowhere to go with it, and Woodrow Wilson doing exactly what they needed to, holding them. Clock is moving, though. It's down to 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game.
This is like one of those deals where there's a wreck with 5 laps to go, and they stop the race and red flag it, and it's going to be one of those fantastic finishes. We've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this game.
Right now, Princeton just wanting a good snap and punt.
They've got their snap. Harold gets off a pretty decent punt. It's going to be taken at the 38. Hill is on his horse. Hill still on his feet, down to the 40-yard line of Princeton. Great field position for the Flying Eagles.
Boy, that was a nice job by Hill. First catching the ball, you know the ball's going to be a little bit wet because of the rain, and making a nice pickup of a return about 20 yards, putting Woodrow Wilson in great field position at Princeton's 41-yard line with 2 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the ball game.
I'll tell you, you've got to hand it to John Lindley's Flying Eagles. They've come out in this second half, and when it seemed like that all hope was lost and it was 16-7, they've come back and they fought back and made it 16-14. Now they're on a drive to win the football game.
But not only was it 16-7, but it was 16-7, and Princeton had the ball down on Beckley's 12-yard line.
Yeah.
And could have easily made it, if they would have scored a touchdown there, that would have really put a hurt on Woodrow Wilson. But they ended up missing the field goal, giving it back to Woodrow Wilson. They work it down the field, score a touchdown, and now they're in great position. All they have to do is get it within their field goal kicker's range. You don't want your place kicker, putting the weight of the game on his shoulders. You'd rather put it in the end zone. But they got plenty of time, 2 minutes and 12 seconds to go.
If you'd like to own your copy, very own copy of tonight's game, it's real simple. Just send a check or money order for $19.95 plus $5 shipping and handling to Charter Media, 300 Star Avenue, Suite 321, Parkersburg, West Virginia, 26101. And please allow 2 to 3 weeks for delivery. Again, if you would like your own copy of tonight's game, we'll do you one. And it's real simple. All you got to do is send us a check for $19.95 plus $5 shipping and handling to the address I just mentioned. And we'll try and get to it again before the end of the broadcast. Beckley takes over 1st and 10. The pitch is to Sorrells. Sorrells up the middle, fights his way ahead for about 4 or 5 yards. Good job by Sorrells as he turns the corner and tries to get up the gut as far as he can go.
Woodrow Wilson takes the timeout with 2 minutes and 3 seconds to go.
So now both
They've
teams
got 2 left.
with 2. Here's that address again, Charter Media, 300 Star Avenue, Suite 321, Parkersburg, 26101. Please allow 2 to 3 weeks for delivery if you would like your very own personal copy of tonight's football game. Also coming up later on this month, we talked about the football game next week on the 19th and 20th. We are off that entire weekend because we're going to be out at the West Virginia Motor Speedway to bring you the Race Fest World Championship, October 19th and 20th. Over 130 drivers from across the country going to be competing for $125,000 purse, $30,000 to win in that 100-lap event. It's the Charter Communications Race Fest World Championship at the Speedway. You can get your tickets by calling 1-866-WVMS-TIK, or you can charge online using your Visa or MasterCard at WVSpeedway.com.
And now Woodrow Wilson, after lining up in the wing tee, having everything packed inside, now they're spreading the offense.
Well, that's how they went down the field so easily last time and scored. Slay back to pass, all kinds of time. Now he's in trouble. Now he goes down. Slay sacked back at the 45-yard line, and who got him? I think it was Brandon Ball.
That's who it was, Brandon Ball. He's had a huge game tonight. Some great plays on defense. Minute and 48 seconds, and Woodrow Wilson's going to spend another timeout.
So that's a huge loss.
It's going to make it 3rd and 15.
Right, that's back to the 45-yard line. So that's a big-time loss, and so now one timeout left for John Lilly's Flying Eagles as they want to talk about it with $1:48 to go. You know, with that kind of time left and you've only got 1:48 in the game, you probably need to continue to try and throw the football, wouldn't you think?
Well, you would think so, especially on 3rd and 15. Of course, you know they've got 2 downs to get, well, it's actually about 14 yards. They got 2 downs to get 14 yards because this is the ball game. And but what's against them right now is the clock.
Slay is 4 of 5, Ron, in this second half. He's completed passes for 19, 13, 5, and 25 yards in this second half. He's been very accurate, and he's had time to throw the football. 4 wide receivers now, 2 to the right, 2 to the left, top and bottom of your screen. Here we go. Slay back at the 50 in a shotgun, looking to throw. All kinds of time. Now he's pressured from Hercey. He gets around the corner there, has a man out of bounds. Pass is caught by Bennett at the 32.
Well, that's the last thing you want to do is give a completion up on the sideline where he can just step out and stop the clock. Now, they didn't get a first down on the play.
No, they're short.
So it's still going to be 4th down. But, man, that's the last thing you want to do is let a receiver come open right on the sideline where he catches the ball and steps out of bounds and stops that clock. You want to, if he's going to catch the ball, make him catch it in the middle of the field somewhere. And Slade doing a good job. Initially, he didn't have anybody open. Rolls out to his left. And
Ted Spadaro down on the sideline saying, come on, fans, get up, get into it. We need you. Everybody on their feet on the Princeton side of the field. 138, 4th and 1. This is the ball game right here. Woodrow Wilson sets Sorrells in motion. They give him the ball, and he's short. They stopped him short.
He got that. Boy, what a great play. And that's Will Alvin again.
And the crowd is going bananas with their blue Princeton rags. Check them out. Capacity crowd, at least on this side of the football field. Let's look at it again.
You watch it as a surge by the offensive line. It looks like he's got it. And Alvin just came firing through there from his inside linebacker position and just put Sorrells down on the ground. And this game is going to belong, barring a turnover, it's going to belong to Princeton.
Well, John Lilly can only stop the clock one more time. He's got one timeout. But they didn't even measure. He actually lost a yard in Sorrells on that play. And Will Alvin, who came into this game playing hurt, wasn't even going to play tonight, has probably made the difference in this football game for the Princeton Tigers.
On offense and defense both.
Yeah, Alvin fights his way across the 35 to the 36-yard line, pick up a 3. Woodrow Wilson will stop the clock with $1:24 to go.
Well, you know, this is the first time we've seen Princeton tonight. This is the first time we watched him play. I'd like to see Alvin when he's 100%.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you one thing, he's a horse.
He is a horse, that's for sure. And Alvin, if I'm not mistaken, was one of those guys that was on the football team last year. He was a starter, and because he was injured, did not get the start tonight. But if you count him, then there's 8 starters coming back tonight for Ted Spadaro. So I tell you, I love both of these football teams. They are very talented on both sides. But Princeton just doing what it takes to win tonight, and it's really been led by Will Alvin, who's come in and done a tremendous job playing hurt. And there's a good look at number 40 right there, taking a shot of water. And
you know, one thing you would like to see maybe a little bit sooner or before, if you're a Woodrow Wilson fan, is Slade throw the ball. Because when they go in that spread offense, he's got an accurate arm. The offensive line does a good job giving him enough time to throw. And even if he gets in trouble, he's got the speed and the looseness to get away from the rush. And then when he scrambles, he can run, or he'll find an open receiver. And it just seems like they waited and waited and waited until the 4th quarter and then threw the ball when they had to.
I really like Jason Slay as a quarterback. I agree with you, Ron, 100%. I think he's got a super accurate arm, and he's got a great arm. He can throw the ball down the field if he has to. It looks like Alvin went over the right side again. And they're just going to give it to the big man and chew the clock as we're down to 1:08 to go in the ball game.
There, the play clock starts right now, so they've got 25 seconds, and There was a minute and 6 seconds left when they blew the whistle.
So they need a first down.
Well, they need a first down because if they don't, Woodrow Wilson will have a chance to get the ball back. Of course, it all depends after they run this play how quickly the officials set the ball.
Right.
If they take their time setting the ball, it's going to make it close.
Down to 43 seconds now. Koch is under center. They give it to Hayes over the right side. Hayes tries to turn the corner. He's going to be thrown for a loss of about a yard. Maybe he got back to the line of scrimmage. So now...
See how fast they set the ball. They're working it over the hash mark. The official hasn't got it. 28, 27.
That's the game.
It. That's the game. They can run the clock out because there was 24 seconds on the clock when the official blew his whistle. They've got 25 to get the play off. Coach should tell them, he's telling them just to stay in the huddle, let her go, boys. Good job by the coach paying attention to the clock.
That's right. 8 seconds to go. 5 seconds for Princeton to be 5-0 on the year and move up in the rankings this week. 1 second, and that's the game. Final score from Hunnicutt Stadium in Princeton, West Virginia. The Tigers defend their home turf and avenge last year's loss. They win it 16-14 over a great Beckley football team.
Boy, we saw a great game tonight. We saw a lot of good athletes on the field. We saw a lot of guys that were hurt. Hughes, Alvin, for both Woodrow Wilson and Princeton coming in and playing. Yeah, they may not have been 100%, but boy, they played tough tonight. Both teams really deserve a win, but only one comes out, and that's Princeton.
And I'll tell you, Princeton did a great job on J.C. Rhodes. Really not a factor in this football game. Didn't play a whole lot of offense and made a few good sticks on defense, but not enough to make a difference. And so Princeton goes to 5-0 on the year. The Flying Eagles go to 3-2. And you got to be happy for Ted Spadaro's bunch because they really worked hard for this game to try and avenge last year's loss.
And really what's impressive are the adjustments they made coming into the second quarter. They figured out what would work. They brought that into the third quarter, and the mistakes they were making, they improved on those. No more jumping off sides.
Right.
And really did a good job controlling the game in the second half. And big plays on their end instead of giving them to Woodrow Wilson.
No offside penalties in that second half for Princeton. Next week, it's going to be back in Parkersburg with Riverside going up I-77 to take on the Big Reds and Bernie Buttrey and company. And we'll have that game for you next week on the Charter Channel, so we certainly hope that you will join us for that. Got a lot of folks that we want to thank. We want to thank the hospitality of Ted Spadaro and everybody down here at Princeton. Also Dolores Gandy and Heavenly Concessions for the food this evening. We really appreciate it. Executive producer of Charter Media Sports is Rob Fowles. Our director tonight is the newly promoted senior producer director, Mitch Owen. Congratulations, pal. Al Freeman did our audio this evening. Super job, Big Al. Brian Barker was our replay and video playback this evening. We appreciate Brian. Kid Ogilvie on graphics and camera tonight for an ailing Lori Taylor for a second. Troy Duvall also on camera this evening. And we appreciate Newbie. There's Lori, who had to take a quick little exit. Mama had, those pregnancy things happen.
She's okay now, though.
Yes, she is. Kid Ogilvie is going to work on this game tomorrow and make sure that you see it great on your TV this weekend and next week right here on the Charter Channel. This football game is a production of Charter Media Sports. It cannot...